Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is in Adobe Photoshop, and I'm going to show you how to remove the background of an image. There's several ways that you can do this, so if you're not comfortable doing it in one of the ways that I've shown you, there are other ways, and it's really about finding which way you're most suited to. So the first thing I think is always best to do when you're doing this is to create a different layer to work on. So we're going to go into Windows. We're going to find the layers, so bring the layers palette open in the window. So this is what we've got. You can make that a bit smaller if you want, or bigger just by dragging that. And we're going to duplicate the layer, so we're not working on the background, so if it goes wrong we've always got that background image there to go back to. And that's always a good fail safe. So go to duplicate the layer. Okay, and you can see that I've got two layers, one on top of the other. I hide the underneath layer so that when we get rid of it we can see what's happening. So that little eye there just hides or deletes, and you can see that with them both off there's nothing there. So the first way that I'm going to show you is with the magnetic lasso. Well, what will happen is you've got this normal lasso that you can use to select areas, but of course it's not very easy to be accurate with that. So what they've got now is all the polygonal lasso, so you could use that. The magnetic lasso, what it does is it actually finds the edges of the object that you're outlining, and it actually sticks to those edges to some degree. So I'm going to start down here just where that grass is, and you can see I'm clicking and I'm moving, but I'm only moving roughly by the edge, but it is finding that edge for me, and I'm clicking, making sure I click as I go, click and move, like so. What's really good is if this is on a white background already, obviously it'd be quite difficult doing a white rabbit, but if you had a photograph and it was on a white background or a black background, a plain background, it's easier to use this tool on that because it can differentiate much better. Anyway, so I've gone all the way around the outside of here, like so. I'm just going to do it quickly, so I'm not going to worry too much about mistakes, like that. And then obviously it's going to go a bit haywire down here because it's not quite so clear. And then once you got to the end, what happens is you can see that it goes like that, and you can see the little circle appearing, and that means that it's found the end of your piece. So you can click on OK, and you'll get these little marching ants around the outside, and that indicates that you have selected the area successfully that you want to select. If there was a bit that you didn't want to have in that selection, you can either hold down if you collect the actual tool, or even you could get the polygonal lasso, and you can either hold down the Alt button to take a bit away, so which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm holding down the Alt button and I'm dragging, clicking and dragging. I'm just going to take a little bit out of that selection there, and you can see that that's smoothed that little bit off. But if there's anything that I wanted to add, say I wanted to add a little bit of, perhaps I wanted to select all of this bit here, I can just add that into the selection. And if I didn't want to do that, I can undo it. So edit, redo, edit, undo to edit, undo bits. So that's one way of doing it. If you can't do it like that, don't worry. If you want to deselect, you can always go here to find deselection in here. So if I click on that, it will deselect it. The other way that you can do it is literally just by clicking on the background with when you're in this selection one. When you get that little cross, you can click on there and it will deselect as well. I normally do it that way because I find it quicker, but you can always go up to edit, deselect. The other way that you can do it is by actually using the polygonal lasso, and what that does is it just draws kind of in straight lines. You see that every point that I put down is a straight line, and what that does is it makes it slightly easier. So I'm just going to deselect that a minute and start again. So it makes it slightly easier. The only trouble is that you might have an edge that's a little bit more sharp. So again, just drawing the straight line around the edge, like so. When you're finished, blah blah blah, go to the edge, find the end, wherever it is, there you go, and you've done it. Okay. The other way is by using just a plain eraser tool. And what you can do is you can either do it freehand. Obviously that brush is way too big, so you want to make sure that your brush is nice and small, probably somewhere around about 5 or 6, and you can test it just by putting it on there. You can do it freehand if you're quite clever at doing that freehand, and obviously just gently building up to the point where you've deleted that section. Or you can also hold down shift and again draw in straight lines with the delete tool. The only problem with the delete tool is you are actually kind of deleting it and you can't edit the deletion, whereas at least with the polygon or lasso you can edit some of the deletion after you've done it. So once you've gone all the way around the outside, if that's the way that you feel is easiest, though I think it's kind of the least most friendly way of doing it, I think I'd definitely do it one of the other ways. Once you've done that, you can select your bunny rabbit or you can just get rid of the whole background and just keep deleting with the magic wand arrow, with the magic wand tool, but it's not really the easiest way to do it. I don't think you'll find it quite difficult doing it that way. You can see you can keep deleting till you've got rid of all these bits and pieces. You can even select larger areas like this and then delete them all in one go until you've got rid of all your background. So that's not, I would say, not the most easiest way of doing it. I would definitely say that the easiest way is to do it with the polygon or lasso, and once you've got the selection there, you can do it that way. So I'm going to show you again. Duplicate the layer like so, and then hide the bottom layer if you need to, which you probably don't need to do. I'm going to do it with this polygon or lasso again quickly. Go around the outside, just kind of stopping at the various parts as you go, putting your little point down, and obviously you can zoom in much closer to get a more detailed effect, but I'm just doing it really quickly for now. Then once you've gone around the whole outside of the whole thing, and as I say, you're going to do it a bit more detailed than me, make it look really good. You can put lots more points in, you don't have to do as few as I've done. What you can then do is select, inverse the selection, whereas before it was selecting the rabbit, it's now selecting the outside. And what we can do is, if we hide that, we'll see with greater effect, is you can just hit the space bar or the delete bar and it will in fact just delete the outline. And then if you've made some errors, again you can go back in with the rubber and just neaten that up a little bit, just being careful not to delete too much of your image. Obviously I've done that really quickly, and you can take much more time on it, but once you've got the idea you can work with that yourselves. Good. Okay, so that concludes the tutorial on how to remove the background of an image.